Hi everyone, my name's Jenny. I'm here with Dixie Andelin Forsyth for A Feminine Moment. And we are excited to talk about the new book, Dixie,
Mhm.
Timeless. So I thought today you could share with us your story. What was your inspiration for writing it and when did you start writing it and all of that?
Oh, okay. Well, before my mother passed away, we were talking one day, and we talked about the need for um, more information and an update to FW. We even discussed a little bit what we would put in it and what kind of things it needed. And she wanted me to help her because she didn't think she could do it by herself. And I said I would. But then when I went down to start it, I could tell she was just a little too frail. She
Yeah.
couldn't concentrate good enough. And after a couple of trips to see her, I realized this isn't going to happen. So I thought I'll have to wait until she passes away, and because I didn't want to do it kind of with her there, and so after that, first of all, I did a lot of
Was
research.
this around the time you were talking about doing the update to her book?
Yeah, we talked about doing the update to her book and doing the not just update, editing, because some of it was dated,
Yeah.
and she recognized that. And then we discussed that there were things that needed to be new information that was out there that needed to be included, and we thought it needed to be another volume of the book.
Yeah.
So then she passed away, and it came to me, and at first I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe I need to do a little research to decide, do I even need to write a book? Maybe I can just update FW Classic and just make it less dated, and that's all we need. But then, so what I did, me and my daughter Bird, we did it together. We divided up several major books that we knew of and researched to see what's out there. Maybe it's already covered in other people's books.
Right.
And so we gave each of ourselves assignments. So each one of us didn't have to read all of them. we didn't read every book on marriage, but we read the major ones. And that was eye-opening. But we came together at the end of the 6 months and realized, even though some of them had some really good stuff in it, like Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus, and Laura Schlesinger's
Yeah.
Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands,
Yes.
Bird even assigned herself to read Betty Friedan's Feminine Mystique, which none of us had ever read, a big, thick one. And we realized that the thing that was missing from all of them was the real recognition of femininity and understanding men. And some of them had little bits of it, but the whole thing about the power of femininity was not in any of these. And so we realized it needs to be done, it needs to be written. And so I got the task, and it took a long time. It took me 4 years to write it.
So you started in around 2014, started writing.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and I remember the first day I went to the computer and looked at that blank screen and thought, what do I do? I'd never written a book. When I was young, I liked to write children's fairy tales, just completely different. And I'd never written a self-help book. And I'm really lucky that I have Bob, and he's a professional. He's a neuropsychologist, and my son Richard is a major wordsmith, and they helped me. I had a very detailed outline of what I wanted in it, and they just said, just get everything you know about every one of these subjects in this outline. Just put everything down online. It wasn't on paper then; it was virtual paper. Put everything down that you can think of that you know. Just empty your mind of everything, and then we'll organize. They'll help me organize it. So that's where I started. So I picked subjects that I thought, okay, I feel like writing about this. So it wasn't in any particular order, and I started doing it that way. And I have a printed out copy of one of my earlier drafts, and it's really quite different. It's needed most of the 4 years was edits.
Yeah.
Really, because editing is the hardest part of writing, where you go over every paragraph. And I know in the new book there's a few typos. That's a formatting thing that happened in spite of all our
Yeah.
careful going. I mean, you even helped with that. And I just, how did this get in here? So, but we're correcting all of that slowly. But
That's okay.
that's kind of how it happened. And the whole chapter on feminine power is completely new.
Yeah,
It
we're
was,
going to have to do a whole other segment on which we will, talking about that chapter and all of the others. It really is an amazing book, and we're so glad that you took the time to write it. How
well,
do you feel now that it's done?
oh, it's such a relief, but I feel like there's so much to do because there's no point in writing a book if no one ever hears about it.
Right.
So, and I'm sorry, I'm still getting over some kind of a virus that I've got. My voice is a little weird, but there's no point in that. So, we're, as you know, we're working on the workbook for Timeless. It's mostly done except for the art.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And the art, I'm not doing that, so I'm depending on other people. And then the teacher's guide, you're helping me with that.
Yeah.
Our teacher's program, there's all kinds of stuff to do, but the writing part, the sitting in front of the computer all day, going over stuff, that part is done.
Well, and what people may not understand is in this 4 years, and especially over the last year and a half since I've really closely been working with you, is all those books I have back there have been edited and revised by you.
That's true. That was hard. That was hard.
Yes.
Yeah,
so you have
that
to
was hard.
update a lot.
Yeah, it was part of one of the reasons it took 4 years is because I was also editing my mother's other books and getting them updated and getting all the dated stuff for the most part.
They're all so important. So in my opinion, they're amazing foundational books, and Timeless is just like the icing on the cake of it all. So someone says, should I buy this one? Should I buy that one? Yes, buy them all. They all work together. And I don't know, even married women will get something out of this fascinating girl, I think.
Well, yeah, if you don't have any children, you may not relate to all about raising children. Or if you're single, you may not relate to that. But
even if you're maybe have nieces or nephews or neighborhood children, want to know about children.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
Because if womanhood is, even if you're a woman who doesn't have children, which is fine, your primary role, wife, mother, homemaker, whether you have a husband or not, all of those roles are womanhood.
That makes me think I have a daughter in Korea teaching elementary age school, and the students she has this year are third grade. And the other day I was video chatting with her, and she was at school. She had a break, and we were just about to end because it was lunchtime there, and she had to go into the lunchroom. And she took her phone in. I was still on, and kind of introduced me to some of these kids, and they're telling her I love you, and they're like her children. And all these groups of children that she teaches are kind of like her kids.
Yeah.
When parents aren't there, and she's teaching them English. She's only teaching them one little thing, but she also loves them and develops relationships with them. And that's very typical of one of the powers of women. We raise the people of this world. And whether it's your own children or your influence on, I've got another sister who's a nurse, and she uses her feminine aura. Yeah. When she takes she works in a recovery room. I mean, she does recovery. People come out of surgery, and she's got them for that little bit of time until they go into their room. She uses her femininity and her feminine influence and power in her job there. Even though these are not children, these are adults, but that nurturing thing comes into play with nursing. And so many things we do, whether it's in our own home or in the workplace, how we do with our friends and other people. It's all part of our feminine role. So
It is. Well, this has been very interesting. I love talking with you today, and of course, we'll be back with more. But please help us out. Like, comment, and share these videos. They're especially moving forward. Dixie and I are going to be talking more about timeless than ever before. And here's my timeless book. It's such a beautiful book. It is written for women of the 21st century about femininity and womanhood in the 21st century.
And relationships with men.
It's all about men, all about, there's so much in here. It is like no other book you will have ever read. I promise you that. So please support us, and we'll have an amazing group on Facebook as well, very active. So,
and together we can change the world.
We can. Thank you, Dixie, so much.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.